Hey everybody, this is Perch, and answering a viewer question, which speaks to a bigger topic. And it's, hey Perch, what's your impression on cancel culture? Cancel culture is involved in every state of every media today. I don't know if that's true. I think there's, pottery, people making pottery. There's no cancel culture there. I think, I was talking about farmers markets the other day on a recording, and I think that maybe some of those people, the ones who make like the little yarn dolls, there's probably no cancel culture involved in that. I guess it's not media. Well, it's a type of media. I don't. Anyway, sorry. What do you think of cancel culture? Is it positive? Is it negative? Should it be eliminated, or is it, as some say, consequence culture? Um, so I mean, I'm going to try and make this a comic conversation, although I guess it really applies to everything. Here's my fundamental, and maybe it could be a very short video. I mean, I think this is my feeling on cancel culture, is that I'm annoyed with the whole topic because the people who tend to debate it are very fluid about whether they support it or are against it, depending on who's getting canceled, and that's the part that I find most annoying. It is annoying to me that the same people who are very smugly will say, "Well, it's just consequence culture. We live in a capitalist society. You people like capitalism, don't you? Well, there are consequences for actions, and one of those consequences can be that you lose your job because you have the freedom to say whatever you want, but you don't have the freedom to be free from consequences of saying whatever you want. Oh, there, buddy. That's what it's all about, there, buddy. That's what goes on." Sorry, I kind of wandered in there. Don't know what that accent was exactly. Maybe Terrence and Phillip. Hey, guy. How doing? I'm fine, guy. Anyway, um, so people say that, but then the somebody they like, somebody on their quote unquote side, gets hit with a scandal, or it's like I know some prominent person who likes canceling people for various sins will get drunk and then start attacking Jewish people or say the N word or whatever it happens to be, and they get caught on camera, and then it's like, oh, this person should be taken off the air. It's like Jimmy Kimmel is an example of that. Jimmy Kimmel is somebody who's supported consequence culture, as he's called it, and everything else, but mysteriously, when people brought up him doing blackface and being on the Man Show and doing all that kind of stuff, he was funny on the Man Show, by the way. I thought it was funny. Then suddenly it's like, oh, come on now. That's 10 years ago. That's 10 years. We're really going to go back and dig up things from 10 years ago? I mean, come on. Who even remembers what was going on 10 years ago? Barack Obama was president 10 years ago. Anyway, well, whatever. Um, okay. So I think it's got to, you either got to be in on it or you got to not be in on it. But what irritates me is the way people fluidly go back and forth. And whenever they're on the other side, they express complete, shock and disregard. And I have no idea what you're talking about. What canceling? Who would ever think of such a thing? I can't even believe that, and or they'll throw out these very disingenuous arguments of I thought you guys were against cancel culture, now you're canceling somebody, how dare you cancel somebody, only we're supposed to cancel somebody, not you there, buddy, you can't do it, guy. Sorry. So that's the part that annoys me. There's truth to almost all sides of this argument. Yes, there's truth that you are free to say whatever you want, but you are not free from consequences of saying whatever you want. Just because you have the First Amendment doesn't mean that you've got an ironclad protection to say whatever crazy thing comes into your head and nobody can react to it. That's not the way it works. Also, if we're going to, nobody's established a moment when things expire. If you are a prominent, very, let's say, liberal activist, and then a bunch of photos emerge of you 30 years ago, where you were in blackface for Halloween and you thought that was funny and you did a lot of that, then yeah, some people are going to come at you for being a hypocrite and point out that you are not living your ideals. Now, I guess it's different if you said in your I guess left wing is anti-blackface left wing? Not really. Maybe I don't know. But if you came out in your activism and said 30 years ago I thought it was funny to dress up in blackface, and I realized how hurtful and insensitive that was to people, and it was awful, and I regret it, and I'm trying to keep other people from making the same mistake I make. Okay, that's a different form, but that's not how it goes. How it goes is people go out and then condemn other people who are conveniently always their political rivals every time. It's like it's this amazing thing where it's like, oh, well, not even political, just rival. It's amazing how cancel culture erupts between like somebody who wants something the other person has. It's like, oh, this low rated comedian who doesn't get specials or bookings has some issues with something that Dave Chappelle said. Oh, amazing, amazing how that is. Oh, what, the person who's complaining and bringing this topic up is also including links to their work and how you can get a hold of them, and maybe even suggesting that you hire them instead since they're not a horrible, offensive person. How that's nice and convenient of them to go ahead and put the links right there so they can easily be hired for a job that they would like, instead of this more popular, successful person that they're trying to get removed from their job. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible, the sequence of events that are going on. That's my problem with cancel culture, is it usually looks incredibly transparent. And I also think that the people who rapidly throw up the "it's just consequence" culture they know exactly what they're doing. It's a power play. And maybe that's the better way to describe cancel culture. It's not cancel culture, it's a power play. It's an attempt for one person to get something out of the other person. That's it. It's really no more complicated than that. It's a power play. If I can tear someone else down, then I can get what they've got. Or in really gross circumstances, I just like tearing people down. I don't even want what they got. I just like watching, things burn and watch misery unfold. Unfortunately, the problem with cancel culture is people are right now engaged in it too much like a game. It has become something where everybody is basically, they did it to us, so we need to do it to them. There's some like weird gamification that's been happened where it's like they canceled 8 of our guys and we've only canceled 2 of theirs, so we got to get 6 and then probably 2 more for interest. That's what's got to happen there, buddy. We got to get them, guy. I fought on you. That's where it all goes, and that's a no-win scenario, because both groups have basically figured out we can weaponize the past and complaints and things people say to try and get them canceled. And if we can get them canceled and we can stir up a bunch of noise, then maybe I can get something out of it. And so the only antidote, by the way, to cancel culture is more people calling out the blatantly transparent fact that when they try and do it, when they try and apply it, it's usually for something someone else wants. It's like that guy who's now suing for defamation, who went into some bar at BarCon and then maybe made a racist comment, but they're not really sure what, but it was something. And then the woman felt uncomfortable, so she sat on it for like 2 years and then brought it up in Twitter. And then a bunch of her followers said this guy has to be canceled, and they're like, rumble, 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 rumble. It's like, what's the South Park thing? It's just a South Park themed video. People are like, rumble, 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 rumble. Everybody just kind of complained for a while. And then it went quiet because it's like, we got something else to complain about. And then the guy's like, I'm suing for defamation. And it's like, oh, rumble, rumble, rumble. Everybody complains again. And it's a boring game. But at the heart of it was, here's somebody who was, I don't even want to say successful, like marginally not a complete failure, who has marginally more success than the person complaining. And so the person complaining complained, and I in the hopes to further the career, doesn't really look like it worked out for anyone. And this is, by the way, the sad result is cancel culture is more often than not destructive to all. Nobody is really, even the people who quote unquote get somebody canceled don't tend to do well in that scenario. They tend to they don't get a great result. Look at when Mags jumped on the Me Too train. It's like this guy love bombed me. Well, you know, uh, did it work out? I think in Mags's head, it probably was I was a victim too at one point. Everybody pay attention to me. Pay attention to me, buddy. I uh, I had something happen to me that was very sad, and you should give me money. But people didn't, and so now and all it did was kind of probably make one guy's life difficult for a period of time, and now it's okay. But it made things rough for him, did nothing for her, ultimately had no merit, but just made everybody feel uncomfortable. And they moved on to the next thing, which, I guess thankfully for the people doing the canceling was more tangible. So it gave people more ability to be outraged. But that's not to say, again, none of what I'm saying here to answer your original question is that people should be free from consequences. Of course, people, if you say something, if you do something, if you make a stupid statement, then you should have to live by it. And that could be rough if you said something stupid. And I think there should be no protections for saying something stupid. However, I think that if you're going to set out to cancel someone, have your own house, free of garbage first, and then make sure it's not just you're canceling someone. Make sure there's a point. If the point is I just want to hurt someone, that's a bad point. The point should be this: by bringing this up, it's going to make the world a better place. It's going to improve things, not just it's going to hurt somebody and it's going to make them suffer a little bit. And stop with the attempts of pretending that this outrage creates a teachable moment. It's one of the biggest BS lines ever. Is well, this will create a learning moment for people. No, it will not. Not when people are shouting on Twitter and saying, "I'm going to have some words and put some hands on this person." That's the last one that where there's a dual canceling thing going on right now with this tiny little publisher, which is funny to watch because the tiny little publisher decided to get into it and just start swinging as well. And it's like, well, you're dead as a publisher. You're going to go nowhere out of all this. And so the people who are fighting back and forth are it's like when you had fights at a middle school or junior high. And I made this mistake when I was in junior high. Is everybody like, I'm going to fight you? But they don't really want to fight. You go out on the playground, or I guess these schools didn't have playground, but kind of the blacktop by the school, and everybody just wants to kind of trash talk and circle and like pretend, like maybe throw a couple air punches, but no one's actually going to make contact. It's just rah, 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 rah. I'm gonna pretend to fight. So I went to this junior high school, and this guy's like, you're looking at me? All right, I'll meet you outside. I'm like, all right, and I meet the guy outside, and and the guy's like, I'm gonna put you on your ass, and I punched him in the face, and he wasn't expecting it because apparently these aren't real fights. They're word fights. They're for show. So I punched him in the face, and he immediately starts crying. I didn't even punch him hard. I'm like, oh shit, this is a quick fight. I got thrown out of that school. Anyway, the more you know. But that's my problem. Is I think cancel culture, consequence culture, all that. More than anything, it's a hypocrisy. It's the people who completely are stunned when somebody applies it to their side, but then gleefully attack the others when it's there. And at the end of the day, it isn't cancel culture. It's I want something from someone else culture. That's all it is. It's like it's power play culture, and you can dress it up any way you want, but that's really what it is. Anyway, let me know your thoughts below, and thanks for listening.